Today we're talking about supplements. I previously did a video about tier 1 and 2 supplements, but the reality is because I'm fortunate enough to shoot content and fortunate enough to have employees in a large rolling coaching business, a lot of my time is spent doing research. And over the past year, I had an executive health scan. I've been working with Maze, a concierge clinic, for years, and I've just been introduced to more and more information. And as I've aged, my shift has been not just aesthetics and performance, but to actually health first and foremost, and then aesthetics and performance. And so it has me increasing my repertoire and understanding of supplements. So we're going to talk about supplements that I believe are tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. And this is kind of an updated version, an intro into supplements that I feel potentially are worthwhile for you. Disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to be one. I don't think anybody should just generically be taking supplements with the exception of some antioxidants we're going to talk about today. Most of these supplements, they need to be right for you, and the best way to determine that is blood work. But let's start off with tier 1 supplements, and let's just get it out of the way because it's the most obvious. Creatine monohydrate. Do not spend money on creatine, especially for women. Do not spend extra money on creatine meant for women during menopause. It's all branding, it's all bullshit. What you need is creatine monohydrate. Don't buy creatine HMB. Don't buy creatine prealkaline. You need monohydrate. The amount that you need is actually more determined on the amount of weight you are, the size you are, the muscle mass you have, than actually like sex or any other determining factor. So people say you should take 5 grams a day. If you're a small woman, you probably need 3. If you're a normal size or above size woman, probably 5. Most guys, probably around 5. I actually take 10 grams a day because I am on the very muscular side, and there's actually meta-analysis to suggest that more creatine than 5 grams a day is beneficial, especially for those who are performing a lot. So creatine is a tier 1 supplement. We'll start off there. Next, vitamin D. Not everyone should take vitamin D. I take it with K2 for absorption, but if you're deficient, and about 70% of the American population is deficient on vitamin D, the way that you find out the appropriate dose and then if you even need this medication is to get lab work done. So when you get your labs done, check your vitamin D. If your vitamin D is sufficient, you don't need vitamin D. If it's insufficient or deficient, you should then start taking vitamin D and make sure that you're getting it into the optimal range. Most people will tell you that's around 30. But that's the low range of adequate. I actually keep mine in the 60s, and I have to take quite a bit of vitamin D thanks to my Viking genetics. This is a tan, but thanks to my Viking genetics, I need quite a bit of vitamin D to get myself into the 60s. You don't want to be above 100, that's toxic. Remember, there's the right amount of any supplement you should be taking. So tier 1, vitamin D and creatine. Next up, I'd say fish oil for people. I actually take prescription grade EPA. There's 3 real forms of omega-3s, EPA, DHEA, and ALA. I take prescription grade EPA every morning. I take 2 grams. I'm not suggesting you do that. Talk to your doctor, figure out if even fish oil is right for you in the first place. You know that by looking at your triglycerides, if you need a lot of it. But also 2, there is obviously just a benefit to having high omega-3s in your diet. Brain health, heart health, cardiovascular health. And I did what was called a omega-3 quartile test to determine exactly how much EPA, DHA, and ALE I needed in my diet. So I take EPA in the morning, and then I actually take Nordic Natural, which is a brand you can get over the counter. I take their DHEA extra in the evening, and I take 3 of these. All I would say to you is most of you should be taking fish oil, but you're going to need to do some additional work to figure out exactly how much to take. And then I have 2 tablespoons of chia seeds each and every single morning to get the ALA in. I think that's the best way to get sufficient ALA. And besides taking fish oil, I also have fish in my diet almost every single day, whether it's sardines, some anchovies, or eating about 4 ounces of salmon twice a week. Almost every single day I have some form of seafood besides taking that supplement. Next, I would say magnesium, tier 1 supplement. I take glycinate. You want one of the organic salt forms of it. Organic in this case just means that it's naturally available. And I take actually 700 milligrams of magnesium a day. Again, the right dosage is the dosage you need, but I would say for most people, you should be supplementing with around 300 to 400 milligrams of magnesium each and every single day. And again, you can get this tested for. You will probably not get adequate amount of magnesium through your diet alone. Even if you're eating like plenty of leafy greens and things like that, walnuts, you probably still won't get enough magnesium. So you probably need to supplement for it. Tier 1, Metformin. This is not a supplement, it's a medication. Why am I even bothering to talk about it? because even though this drug kind of fell out of graces of being like the longevity drug, it is still one of the most potent longevity drugs and low-hanging fruit on that journey to longevity. Protective of liver, protective towards some forms of cancer. Again, talk to your doctor if metformin is right for you. This is a prescription drug. Do not take it lightly. For some people, it can actually elevate their liver lipids. So make sure that it's right for you. But I take metformin each and every single day, and I actually take 1,500 milligrams. I take 1,000 in the morning, and I take 500 in the evening. Last tier 1 supplement, DHEA. You want to get your blood work done. Look where your DHEA level is. If you're in the normal range, you're fine. If you're in the higher end of the normal range, you're optimal. If you're there already, you do not need to supplement with it. Do not supplement with it unless you need it. But when I checked my DHEA, I was on the lower side of normal. And originally I took 25 milligrams a day and I ended up at supraphysiological levels, not super, but supraphysiological levels. And by that point, I made a decision to take it 25 milligrams with the help of my doctor, made a decision to take 25 milligrams every other day, which put me into the optimal range. And those are our tier 1 supplements that we talked about today. Moving on, we're going to talk about tier 2 supplements. Tier 1 really is just supplements I think almost everybody needs to be taking. But it doesn't necessarily mean, again, some of these, like if you're sufficient in vitamin D, you don't need to take vitamin D, but almost everyone should be taking these. These ones, I think, again, they don't move the needle quite as far, or they're very case by case. And when we talk about supplements that maybe don't move the needle quite as far as like fish oil or creatine, we're gonna start off with potent antioxidants. And again, I do think most of you should be taking them. I just don't think they're as critical as the ones we just talked about on our tier 2 list here. So starting off, let's talk about N-acetylcysteine. This is a precursor for glutathione, which is a powerful liver detoxifying enzyme. You hear about people saying all the time about detoxification. Most of the shit that you're hearing on social media is just that. It's bullshit. It's people trying to get you to buy teas or to buy some sort of ritual that they want you to do, and it's all short-lived. This is well documented to being a precursor to glutathione. Some people want to waste their money and buy injectable glutathione. It's unnecessary. Just simply buy N-acetylcysteine. I take 500 milligrams in the morning, 500 milligrams in the evening, and yes, I was tested for my levels on N-acetylcysteine as well. I go through the rigorous course of having all these things actually tested and looked at. But as a generic recommendation, I think, talk to your doctor, but 500 to 1,000 milligrams for most of you a day would be great. And if you can't get it tested just for financial reasons, it's fine, it's not great. You're likely not gonna have any side effects by taking this supplement, but of course, talk to your doctor. Another precursor for glutathione is glycine, and I take 3 grams of this a day. So both of these are precursors for glutathione, and I take both of these daily. I take 1,000 milligrams of N-acetylcysteine, and I take 3 grams of glycine each every single day, and I take it alongside with my creatine. I put it in the same shaker and mix it up. So those are antioxidants for your liver. Ubiquinol. This, I think, strong argument I could make that this belongs in category 1, tier 1. This is the GOAT of antioxidants for cardiovascular health. It's a precursor for CoQ10. It's more bioactive when taken as ubiquinol. I used to take 200 milligrams in the morning, 200 milligrams in the evening, but then I had my levels tested and I had super physiological levels of this antioxidant, so I dropped it down to only 200 milligrams a day as opposed to 400. Again, I get everything that I take tested for. I would suggest, especially if you have a family history of heart disease or you have elevated lipid levels, take ubiquinol. And I think for most everyone, you should be taking the supplement. But again, talk to your doctor. Next up, curcumin. This is a powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant. This is the active ingredient in turmeric, the root. So that's why I bother to take curcumin over turmeric. Again, just very powerful antioxidant. I take 500 milligrams in the morning, 500 milligrams in the evening. Anti-inflammatory properties. Remember always, you can take too much of antioxidants. You can take too much anti-inflammatories that actually can prevent building muscle, but you do want to take these things when you look at it from a longevity aspect. So I'm always balancing those two things, performance versus longevity. And as I mentioned, as I get older, obviously I emphasize longevity over simply performance or aesthetics. Also on this list, Rhodiola. Rhodiola just has so many health benefits that's why I put it on tier 2. It's not a tier 1 because it's not as substantiated scientifically, but there's enough things that this supplement does, like improving your antioxidant capacity, helping with cortisol levels, helping with stress, helping with fatigue, helping with sleep. There's just so many minor benefits that this thing has. It's like death by 1,000 paper cuts that it made itself onto the tier 2 list, and it's a supplement I take each and every single morning. Beta-alanine. This is one of those supplements that really, I think, like in terms of performance benefit, is a tier 1, but it's a very case-by-case supplement. I don't think everybody who's listening to this video should be taking beta-alanine, but if you are a marathon runner, if you're getting ready for high rocks, if you do CrossFit, you should be absolutely taking beta-alanine because it is extremely substantiated at helping with endurance, and that's why I take it. Some people hate the supplement because you're going to get tingling along your face when you take it. What I'll tell you is just endure it. It does suck at first, but after about a month, you don't even notice it anymore, and the tingling is so minor. But when you first start taking it, it really can be really brutal, and you're uncomfortable for like 10 to 30 minutes when you first start taking it. CBD, I take 60 milligrams each and every single morning of CBD because it's neuroprotective, it helps with anxiety, so it's great for mood, and it's also neuroprotective. It protects your brain from neural degeneration. I make sure there's no THC in here. There is simply CBD, and I'm in New York, and so at this point, cannabis has been legalized in New York, so I actually go to, what are those called, Monty, where they sell weed? Dispensaries. I actually go to a dispensary and purchase this, and I make sure that it's only CBD. Also in our tier 2 supplement list, because it's so damn effective, is L-Carnitine. Some people take it orally. The issue is when you take it orally, there are some carcinogenic effects of it. So I actually take it subcutaneously. I take a little subcutaneous needle, pull out 200 milligrams. I take it each every single day. The reason it's at this list is because there's not really as much, it's obviously you're injecting yourself. So when you get to that level, it requires more effort than some of these other things, and not everybody's gonna be about that life. But in terms of its benefits, I think it's at a tier 1 status. It helps prevent left ventricle thickening. So if you're on TRT, you really definitely should be considering this. It helps with fat liposis. So there's just a lot of benefits for this bad boy. However, again, not everybody's going to want to inject themselves with a needle. And I also don't necessarily always recommend this to clients because, again, we're getting into a little bit of a gray area. You're having to order this offline, off of a lab. It's a little bit more complicated than some of the other things here that you can just order off Amazon. Making our way to tier 3 supplements, I have my Thorne multivitamin. That's right, multivitamins are all the way down in tier 3. Why, Jake? I thought multivitamins was like the single most important thing you'd be taking for supplementation. Well, you'd be wrong. Multivitamins are just great to round out. I actually view this as just expensive urine. I think I spend, what is it, 90 pills? 30 pills, only 30 pills in here. I spend $70 on this a month knowing that I might just have expensive urine because some of these things are superfluous. I already get plenty of these vitamin minerals and it's just more expensive urine. So for most people, I don't think, unless money's not really an object and you really are just very focused on your health, I wouldn't even bother taking a multivitamin, because if you're doing a good job with your diet and you're taking some of these other supplements, you probably have adequate numbers of everything here. But I said, fuck it. I want to make sure that everything's in a perfect place, and I don't care if my urine's a little bit more expensive. So I take this, and I take Thorne because I think if you're going to take a multivitamin, do it right. If you make the decide to even spend money on it, don't be cheap about it. Don't buy like the generic like Pebbles, Flintstones, chewable multivitamins. Get a really good damn multivitamin, and this is a really good damn multivitamin. And again, I do know that it's likely just making my urine more expensive. Also on the list, and this is only for men, Ashwagandha helps support mood, helps elevate testosterone to a very low level. But if you've known me, follow me for a while, I'm on TRT, so why am I still bothering to take this? Because it helps with stress, because it helps with sleep, and because it helps with cortisol. So I still view it as having benefits, but it's definitely a tier 3 supplement, and the only time I think you should really be pushing to take this is if you are low on testosterone, and you want to see what you can do in terms of lifestyle to change that. So if you're going to work on your sleep, you're going to work on dropping some body fat, if you're going to work on being more active, this is something you can actually supplement along with those things that may naturally increase your testosterone. This is the step, along with lifestyle, before you go to clomiphene, which could potentially naturally boost your testosterone. The next stop on the train would be TRT, whether it be injectables or pellets, which I'm very open about. But this is a tier 3 supplement. And then ending out the list is NMN. This is $70. I buy it from Renew by Science, reputable brand. I take 500 milligrams a day. In this container, there's 200. So if you think about it, I'm getting 7 months worth of this supplement, 6.5 months of this supplement for $70. It's on tier 3 because even though NMN, we definitely know increases and brings your NAD plus levels, which is this is what this works on, NAD plus, which you probably heard people talk about. It definitely elevates the levels to where you need them to be. However, we don't know how beneficial having optimal levels of NAD plus actually is. There are people who are spending thousands of dollars on NAD plus IVs, drips, complete waste of time. They're probably in Miami and their parents are rich and they sell drugs on the side and they're just part of the fad. I'm kidding, but really I'm not. Like, it's like stuff influencers do. It's like, oh, look, I'm getting my NAD plus NAD. You know, like I have a trust fund. Like, great, awesome. But for everyday people who don't have time or money that they want to waste, do not bother doing that shit. Same thing with the glutathione shots. Like, it's a waste of money. You can just take NAC and glycine. And in the case of NAD plus, you can just take NMN. So for those of us who actually have a job, actually have a family, and actually have things going on, this would be my way of getting NAD plus in our systems. But it's here on tier 3 because we don't actually know how beneficial having elevated levels of NAD actually is. And these are the supplements that I take, and it's a tier 1, it's a tier 2, and it's a tier 3, and things that you might consider taking or might be right for you. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you like what you saw today, please hit subscribe. I put out one long format piece of content each and every single week. I really enjoy these videos. And if you're not following me on Instagram, 265,000 followers on Instagram, 77,000 followers on TikTok. Go check them out. Hit subscribe. Thank you, guys.